Shalom, and welcome back to Bnei Noach Academy, Thoughts on the Torah. Please remember to hit the like button, to subscribe, and of course, to share this wisdom and inspiration with friends and family. So when we look at the story of the 10 plagues, specifically chapter 9, verse 24 in the book of Exodus, over there the Torah makes it a point to describe in detail what the plague of hail looked like. Now, when I say hail, you think of it and you say, wow, that's a pretty terrorizing plague. That's big chunks of ice crashing down on the Egyptians in a very ferocious manner. And indeed, that was a great miracle. It was a fantastic miracle, especially considering not only the time of year, but also the geography. You think about it, Egypt is a desert. There's no hail in the desert. It doesn't typically get cold at all there. So how exactly was there hail? Well, that was a miracle. Now, in this verse, you notice that there was another miracle, or as the sages put it, a miracle within a miracle. And that is that the Torah describes how within these chunks of hail, there were fireballs. There was fire burning within the chunks. Now, the miracle was not only there was fire, but the fact that the fire didn't consume the ice, the water, nor did the water put out the fire. This is fantastic. This is an amazing miracle. And again, a miracle within a miracle. But what's the point? Why? You see, there's a great grand rule that the Talmud states, and that is the sages tell us, quote, God doesn't make a miracle for naught, for no reason. And actually, this is a very logical thing. It makes sense. You think about it, who created nature? Who made the rules of nature? Who made this system and all the gears as they're turning tick as it is? Well, it's God. He continuously guides it. It's just that he chooses to conceal himself to the point that people think it's just a, quote, a natural thing. It's running itself, so to speak, the world. But really, it's not so. It's God running the world. From time to time, God does some special effects, so to speak, some special events through which he shows us how he is in control. When a miracle occurs, it's for a purpose. When a miracle happens, it's because God is showing us. God wants to give us a little glimpse as to who really is controlling matters. But at the same time, there has to be an outright purpose for it. There has to be a definitive reason for God to do it. Because if not, it doesn't make sense for him to abort his plans, to distort the order of things as he put it into motion for no good reason. So what is the reason here? Why would God make this miracle within a miracle? I mean, is it enough that he's raining down on them the hail? But that in itself was very destructive, as we see in the verses. Well, the answer is, if you recall, but almost by every single plague, God makes it a point to mention, the caveat, to tell us why he is making the plague. What is the purpose? What is the objective? Well, the objective is, as he tells Moshe, he continues to remind Moses, V'yad'u Mitzrayim ki ani Hashem. The Egyptians will know that I am God. They will come to recognize that I am in full and absolute control of every single detail of everything that happens in this world. This was one way of showing them. You see, it's in fact that anybody knows, even a little child knows, water and fire don't get along. You can't keep them in the same place together. The only way you can get them perhaps to work in harmony is by separating them. You put some water in a pot, and the thickness of the pot, may it be the aluminum, the steel, whatever it is, serves as a buffer, so now the fire and water can somewhat get along and complement each other. But otherwise, put the raw form of fire, raw form of water together, they can't get along. One is going to overpower the other, depending on which one is greater. Here, God shows us that's not a fact. That's just because I want it to be that way. I made the world to conduct itself that way. That's why it's occurring. And the proof for it is because when I decided that it shouldn't be so, or I wanted to show you, give you a glimpse of who's in control, I can show you that fire and water can work perfectly together in perfect and absolute harmony without hurting each other, in fact, complementing each other. So we need to recognize this in every single thing that happens in life. that even though it looks like the world seems, so to speak, or nature seems to be dictating what's going to happen next, we have to remember that behind the scenes, God is really there pulling all the strings, making it all happen.